hey, you should like and subscribe.
Here's a question that you may not want to answer. Do you occasionally enjoy it when news organizations get sued?
Enjoy it.
Not enjoy it, but you're a lawyer, right? Like Star Jones, you're a lawyer. And do you enjoy, not enjoy, but obviously, the voting machine people winning the suit was like satisfying.
Dominion sued
I
Fox.
personally, from the outside in, even when Trump sues people, if they did lie, I do support Trump in that case. I don't like him, didn't vote for him. I do support a good lawsuit if it is liable. Now the 60 Minutes one, I
get what you're saying. A working court system should actually be available to anyone who has been wronged and should be a forum where evidence is what resolves the conflict.
Yeah.
So, yes, I think anyone, as skeptical as we are of so much of how it fails, when it works, you look at it and go, oh, wow, like take the Alec Baldwin trial, which some people followed.
So Alec Baldwin is back in court for his involuntary manslaughter trial for that fatal Rust movie set shooting.
It doesn't matter what you think of Alec Baldwin or how he would pass your name test, right?
You're talking about Ilaria?
I'm Hilaria. Yes, I am a white girl.
That was a situation where we now know by the end of a court process that there was no reliable evidence that he went to the movie set that day and tried to kill someone.
Dismissal with prejudice is warranted to ensure the integrity of the judicial system and the efficient administration of justice.
That's totally absurd.
Yeah.
That was the only question. The question isn't what you think of Alec Baldwin or whether they could have had better safety on set. They could have better safety at a lot of workplaces. A lot of people are put in danger. But it was a case where it's very clear from the evidence that local authorities had a debacle on their hands and a star. And while stars might get all sorts of special treatment most days, on that day, the authorities decided we're going to hang this on Alec Baldwin because he's famous. He was the most famous person around.
Puffy. By the way, I'd like to say, Ilaria, I'm going to give you 5 name changes because you showed such bravery and originality going from Hillary to Ilaria.
Code switching.
And if you want to, I have another one for maybe your next one. Hilario.
Wow.
Hilario. Think about it.
So the question was, do you like sometimes seeing these court cases? And the answer for anyone who cares about truth or even the higher order, justice.
Did he sue any news organizations? I'm saying as a news person.
No, I'm just using a very clear example. Because the news ones, you get into what does defamation mean. We could talk about it. I'm just using that as an example where by the end of that case, you said the court system actually worked. Now, we can still look at, well, he had the money to pay the lawyers. He could withstand the thing. Other people would have been forced to settle. That's why the system is so unfair to the poor. I've done a lot of work on criminal justice reform. We could talk about that. But to the question of you look at a court system that works and you say, wow, unlike everywhere else where people bring their preconceived notions or are super polarized or reading whatever, that system worked. In that case, you apply that to say Fox News was on defense for a bunch of obviously false, demonstrably false claims, both about the election that Biden won, which they were suggesting somehow maybe Trump secretly won.
We don't know anything about the software that many say was rigged. We don't know.
And circulating conspiracy theories about voting machines and other demonstrably false things.
Fox has admitted to telling lies about Dominion that caused enormous damage to my company, our employees, and the customers that we serve.
They failed the journalistic standard. They paid out one of the largest defamation settlements in American history, over $500 million. So you can look at that and say, oh, that worked. The other obvious problem in our system and across the courts in general is the incentives are off. There's a lot of frivolous lawsuits. If rich people like Peter Thiel has done this, he just funded a bunch of lawsuits against one of his enemies in the media, Nick Denton and Gawker, and it's a complicated case. But the structural point is, if you have unlimited resources, then you can keep suing someone in different places, and you can bankrupt them, whether or not you have a good point or not. So separate from, again, what you think about that exact topic.
Yeah.
there are holes in this system, so that when the sitting president of the United States, who's reaping billions of dollars in his own conflicted crypto spending, which is a type of virtual currency that he repeatedly said was clearly a scam, but now he's in power. So like other politicians we've seen in countries with lax rules, he's making billions off crypto, and then he wants to use that to sue people indefinitely while he's the sitting president. I do think it raises more questions.
Yeah. Was your focus in law, was it free speech?
Yeah. I worked for Floyd Abrams, who's one of the top First Amendment lawyers in the country, amazing litigator. He won the Pentagon Papers case for the New York Times against Nixon. He represented Al Franken when there was lawsuits over Bill O'Reilly. And again, one of those issues of, oh, you're criticizing me. Oh, I'm going to sue you.
Yeah.
He's represented the New York Times in a case against the Bush administration where they were trying to make a reporter give up their sources. Represented Judy Miller, if you remember all the way back to Iraq, which you mentioned. So he has many lawyers who work for him. I was one of them, but really learned a lot.
Probably the best one from what I heard. You were the only one they gave a TV show to. My other question about free speech is, okay, so Germany says don't say shit about Nazis. Basically, that's not the official the way the law is written, but that's basically what they're saying. To the point about DaBaby, when would it be okay in Germany to, you know what I mean? Like okay, that's a thing happens over 6-7 years, whatever dates you want to put on the Holocaust.
You're calling the Holocaust a thing that happened.
Yeah. And there's no other word for it. I'm calling it a Instagram story. I understand. I obviously understand. It's the balance between freedom and safety. And like, where do you fall on this? Is it different every time? Do you have like a sort of mnemonic you use to like clarify it?
Free speech is a concept, and as you're mentioning, where the limits are decided by systems, laws, or people over time. The United States has one of the more robust approaches to this, meaning defending more speech, which includes harmful or bad speech. Other countries go in a different direction. Germany, responsible for World War II in the main and the Holocaust, or Japan, which has tried to make a lot of changes since that time, are places where it's not surprising to me, if you look at this as history, that those places err more on the other side. Indeed, it may be a good thing to many people, right? You say, well, you guys, because you don't get, in modern history, you don't usually get mass support for that kind of killing without a great deal of propaganda and information beforehand. So the link, which scholars and others make between the terrible thing that happened and the years of misinformation, lies, or hate speech before are relevant. So it doesn't surprise me that, I mean, we've picked an outlier, and to flip back to a more relatable example, it's like Muhammad Ali. You say, well, Muhammad Ali could habitually beat boxers who were quite a bit heavier than him. And this just goes to show, maybe we don't need such strict weight classes. Okay, we've just tried to make an argument based on an exception on one of the greatest boxers ever. Yeah. So is that a good argument, or are we saying, well, Muhammad Ali was so good he could beat Foreman even when he was heavier, but no other boxers could? So if you take that back to free speech
I guess what I'm looking for,
I don't think Germany is the best example, but I can answer the question.
No, but I know in comedy it's like I've made fun of every race. I've done Holocaust jokes. I've done slavery sketches, jokes. I've done, and then there's certain things. It's like, for some reason, like blackface. No, I've said the N-word. Whatever, I've said the N-word. But there are things where it's like we should be able to say whatever. We should be able to. My N-word defense is like, it was a joke about the word, etc. But what I'm saying is, what is the legal definition? When would the Klan marching become hate speech? Right. When does it become fighting words?
So there's a famous case from Skokie, Illinois, where neo-Nazis marching peacefully, which may sound like a setup for a Chappelle skit, but as long as it truly was peaceful, was protected.
It was peaceful, though, right?
Yes.
So these were great guys.
So these bad guys
didn't need Chappelle for that stupidity.
was protected speech under U.S. law. And another distinction I want to just say to set it up is free speech doesn't mean there's no reaction or accountability for what you say. It just means you're not going to be imprisoned for it or functionally destroyed for it. So if you can bankrupt someone through those civil law or jail them, that's a very different environment. But, you know, I'm on live TV every night.
De La Soul is basically hip-hop royalty.
We have free speech. If I say something that makes the company decide I'm not going to be on TV tomorrow night, that's not a violation of the First Amendment. I got to speak, and they exercise their accountability.
But if you get thrown in jail, that's
right, which
that's
is the
a
government.
Violation. Yeah.
So, and we've seen. So again, I've seen. I think the other thing I'll say, since it's a podcast and we're being sort of personal, this is more subjective. I wouldn't get into this as much in the middle of a news program, but it's so funny, Neal, for me, like having been the nerd studying First Amendment law and then practicing it and then having like explaining it, like being at like parties with smart people who are like, wait, which amendment is that? And wait, what? And then, as you know, like, I don't know when, but in the last 5 or 6 years, shit got hot. Like, this became the topic on the right, but then also like a counter argument on the left. And then like, I don't know about you, I just feel I went from like something more obscure to like, I'm seeing politicians and billionaires and all kinds of people talk about free speech, which I put in quotes, all the time. And so that's just been sort of really funny from my background.
Yeah, well, it's their definition of free.
But then a lot of times,
people don't realize it's just the government can't jail you or arrest you. I mean, I guess they're trying to sue now.
That you can't be taken to court or have your life destroyed for exercising your free speech rights.
Okay, but my question is, so the Klan marches in Skokie, what if the repercussions had been they got their ass whooped at the end of the march? The people who whooped their ass would have gone to jail, right? And they would have...
Well, that's a separate infraction of was their battery, right? The real question for the First Amendment test would be, did they act in a way that imminently caused a riot or violence, even if it was two-sided? So you can imagine a type of march that you call a march, but you go right up to people's houses and you start doing this and that, and it's menacing.
And that just comes down to like a jury deciding if that's over the line.
Right.
But there's a
legal
grievous
test.
Harm? What is it?
Yeah, there's a standard for it in the same. So you mentioned fighting words. Free speech protection does not allow you to go up to somebody and insult their wife and kids in a horrific manner and then expect them to just stand around, right? So basically,
shout out to Ted Cruz. Go ahead.
There are things that are so obviously incendiary, and that's where here's another classic example. Free speech doesn't allow you to publish instructions for making contraband weapons.
Yes.
So grenades are banned. You can't have a civilian grenade. You can't sell it. Well, can you give out all the DIY home printer information? No, that's also banned because it's not speech. You're not expressing anything. And so at a certain point, doing something that is designed to cause a fight is not expressive. That's the way they define the test, even though I know that's sounds a little abstract.
I mean, there's got to be a standard, and it's relying on you at parties to explain it.
But hate speech is something different, and we've had a lot more emphasis on that. And again, if you want to take a hateful stance against people who make plastic water bottles because that's part of your worldview, it might be terrible, might be unfair. If you go screaming about it at work, you might not keep that job, right? You don't have carte blanche everywhere you go. But you can say that because it's still related to your environmental agenda versus you getting up in someone's face to cause a fight for that sole purpose. That's not speech. You're trying to cause fight, not trying to express idea.
Hey, you should like and subscribe.